What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with the review for Abbott Elementary Season 2, episode number 22. This episode was titled Franklin Institute, you guys. I do apologize that this video is late. If you guys didn't see on my community tab earlier this week that I got involved in a car accident, that's why this video was late. I hadn't been feeling good all week, but we're here now. So before we go ahead and get into this review, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and sharing the video. And with that out the way, without further ado, let's discuss the season finale of Abbott Elementary, you guys. Shall we? All right, you guys. So this episode, it is, we see Gregory. So Gregory is in the teacher's lounge. He's talking to his dad, and Mr. Johnson is in there. And Mr. Johnson was like, "You FBI?" And he's like, "No, that was my dad." He was like, "That's how you talk to your dad?" He was like, "Yeah." So we find out that Gregory's dad wants him to come to, I believe, Baltimore for the summer and, work with him for the landscaping, right? So Mr. Johnson is like, "Oh yeah, that's just another way to take out a black people." I was like, "Mr. Johnson, what?" Mr. Johnson was a trip, right? Mr. Johnson was a trip. So Mr. Johnson wants to actually go and do work at the landscaping with Gregory and his father. And I was like, "Mr. Johnson, but you just equated this to the FBI and them taking out black people, and Mr. Johnson is a hoot to me, right?" So Janine came into the teacher's lounge, and she was talking to them, and she was talking to Mr. Johnson and Gregory, and she said something. She said she doesn't know what Mr. Johnson's first name is, and he said something, and Gregory was like, "He's been on one today, so basically just let it be," right? So we see Janine. So Janine is asking Gregory, what does he pack for an overnight trip to the Franklin Institute? And I really wish she didn't ask that question, because he has night socks, he has a do-rag, I think some vitamins. I was like, "Oh, you really could have kept that to yourself," but hey, good. So the school is going on a field trip to the Franklin Institute, and they're going to be staying there for the night, right? So we find out that Janine and Gregory are group buddies with each other. I was like, "Oh, group buddies." I was like, "Now who came up with this pairing?" We'll find out soon. We'll find out later who came up with that pairing, right? So let's pause here, and we're going to go ahead and just move forward. So we see at school where everybody has packed their stuff and they showing up. Melissa dropped her bag on the ground, and it made a loud thud. And Abe was like, we don't do the loud thuds. You clickety, you can basically jail cells, right? And so Melissa opened the bag, and it was a baseball bat. I was like, "Melissa, who are you going to be beating up with a baseball bat at the Franklin Institute?" I'm like, "Okay, yeah, okay, Miss Shementi." So Barbara came in, and she had a big, huge bag, and they were like, "Girl, are you trying to stick Gerald in?" We'll talk about that too, right? So we see as they're getting ready to leave to go on the field trip, one of Janine's students says, "Are we there yet, Miss Teagues?" She's like, "The bus hasn't even gotten here yet." So then we see Maurice walking by, and when Maurice walked by, Janine wants to go to Maurice and apologize. He said, "The funny thing about when people say, 'I want to apologize to you,' they never really say, 'I'm sorry.'" And I was like, "You know what? That is true, right? When people say, 'You know what? I need to apologize to you,' instead of just flat out saying, 'I'm sorry.'" But Janine says she's sorry. And Mr. Maurice kind of read into Janine, telling her she's selfish. I was like, "Really? I never, selfish." And Janine kind of took that to heart. And Gregory, in the background, there was a parent that was telling her about her son. Basically he'll pretend like he's asleep, but he's not really asleep, right? And she's like, "Are you listening to me?" But he was listening. He was focused on Janine the entire time, right? When Maurice killed me when he was talking about he's ghosting a girl, but he don't want to hurt her. I'm like, "You already hurt her by ghosting her." Okay, so we see when they got to the Franklin Institute, we see Melissa and we see Melissa and Jacob in their class, so they're doing a tour, and Melissa was talking about how Philly was once the capital, right? And the young lady that was giving them the tour, Melissa was basically schooling that girl, and she kind of summed the little girl. I'm like, little girl, she had a baseball bat in her bag, so I would really suggest to you just to let it go. She's talking about she's a volunteer. Volunteer your ass somewhere else, because I don't think you want to mess with that woman, that Italian American woman, who I think has connections to the mob. I believe she has connections to the mob. So we see Ava. This fool is over here telling the kids about aliens and just basically scaring the hell out of them. I'm like, oh my God, leave it to Ava to just tell these kids something. I mean, aliens, and we're spending a night here, and you don't think that that's going to cause some issues with these kids, but okay. So Janine, we see that she was down, and Gregory sent over one of his students to, give Miss Teagues a hug. And he went up to her like, that didn't even do anything for you? So he told her about his dad wanting him to come and work with him for the summer, right? But I'll stay here, if you say, do you think I should go? She's like, well, you do what you want to do. He's like, but I would like to hang out with you this summer. I was like, Janine, say yes. Say yes, Gregory. Please stay here. But Janine is not saying yes. I'm like, Janine, what the is going on here? But let's pause here and move forward, you guys. So Barbara asked the volunteer if there was like a private place where she can go sleep, right? And the girl said, yeah, you can go sleep by such and such, right? And Melissa came up like, she's not even from Philly. And she's like, do I have to be from Philly to know the way around here? I guess in Melissa's world, you do. Because if you don't, you ain't nothing, right? So Melissa says, so you don't want to sleep with us? And she says, it's not that. She said, it's the fact that Ava is telling all these kids about aliens and getting them all worked up, right? So we see Gregory and Jacob, and they're talking, right, about Janine. So, Gregory's asking Jacob, have you noticed that Janine has been acting funny? He was like, nah, I really haven't, because I've been with Morton all day. He still has a vendetta with this man. He still has it out for this man. So Jacob feels like, you and Janine should just kiss and get it over with. And, Gregory made a face. He was like, your face, like, you're not good with that. Like, when did this happen? So he told him, he was like, but Janine and I rolled back together and she never made mention of it. He was like, yeah, we just didn't want to tell anybody about it. So Jacob says, well, how about you go and tell Janine how you feel about her, right? So moving back over to Ava. So one of the little girls, she drew an alien, right? So this alien has a mask on its face, and Ava is like, maybe the alien maybe they look just like us, right? I was like, oh my God, Ava, you're making this even worse than it are. These are kids, Ava. Stop scaring these kids, right? So remember, I told you that Janine and Greg were paired together, right? So he wanted to talk to her, once the kids finally went to sleep. She says, I'm just gonna go over here and sleep next to Barbara. She has this this white noise machine. It wasn't no goddamn white noise machine that Barbara has. It's a CPAP machine, because she has sleep apnea, right? So Jacob went back over to Gregory and asked him, so how did things go with you and Janine? He says, they didn't. He said, oh, it's like you're never gonna see her again. So Jacob told him, everybody that I like knows that I like them, right? Zach, right? And I forgot who else he said. But he basically told him, you like her, go talk to her. So Gregory did go talk to Janine. Excuse me, y'all. He went to go talk to Janine, and he asked her about the Maurice situation, right? She didn't want to talk about the Marie situation, but Gregory eventually told her he likes her and he has feelings for her, right? Now, while this is happening, his student that his mom told him that you got to watch him because he'll pretend to be asleep, he got up and started wandering around and stumbled onto one of the other kids, and then it woke Barbara up, and Barbara had this machine on her face, and the kids are just running around screaming because of freaking Ava. I was like, Ava, this is all on you. So let's pause here and wrap up the episode, you guys. So we see as everybody's talking, and Barbara's like, yeah, I have sleep apnea, so I wear a CPAP. I wear a CPAP machine, right? But Ava is the one who has gotten all this started by filling these kids' heads with aliens, and Ava doesn't even want to take accountability for it. I'm like, it's Ava, so am I shocked? Am I surprised? Absolutely not, right? So Janine then finally, move back over to Janine and Gregory. So Janine does finally admit that, she does like Gregory too. So she says, when did you know that you liked me? He said, from day one. And she was like, the same for me, but I was with Tariq. So then she says, so what was the whole thing with Amber? He says, she asked me out and you were doing your thing. And then she asked about the Taylor situation. Child, that Taylor situation was never nothing. So she told him what happened with Maurice and how Maurice called her selfish. And so basically she told him that she doesn't want to hurt him, right? So it's not, it sounds bad to say it's not you, it's me. But she said it's not you, it's me, right? She's saying, and I knew what Janine was saying. She took to heart what Maurice said about her being selfish, and she's taken that so deeply. And she values her friendship with Gregory, and she doesn't want to do anything that would jeopardize that friendship. And it's commendable and it's understandable, right? I know that probably by the time this series ends, that we'll have a Janine and Gregory. I feel like with Janine and Gregory, they might have a situation like Maxine and Kyle, if you guys watch Living Single, or a Rachel. Ooh, please don't be a Rachel and Ross. Rachel and Ross from Friends, or a William and, please don't be them either. William and Joan from Girlfriends. So I do feel like at some point this couple will become a couple. I don't know if it'll be during the series or if it'll end the series, right? But that was the season finale, you guys. I enjoyed it. I have so enjoyed reviewing season 2 of Abbott Elementary. It has been so fun and so enjoyable for me. I want to thank everybody who has watched my videos and left your comments and whatnot. And I can't wait for season 3, you guys, because they have been renewed for season 3. So we'll be back with Abbott Elementary season 3 this fall, you guys. So that's it, you guys. This is the last Abbott Elementary review until September or so. But I've like I said, I've immensely enjoyed Abbott Elementary. Let me know what you guys thought about season 2 in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel, you guys. Turn on your post notifications and share the video, you guys. Until the next time, stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves, you guys. Wash your hands and be blessed. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.